Let's talk about entertainment. Jimmy Fallon has taken over from Jay Leno for The Tonight Show, and he recently hosted his debut on the program. I watched it. I watched the final show of Johnny Carson years ago, watched the final show of Jay Leno a couple weeks ago, and stayed up to watch Jimmy Fallon as he wooed the audience with some of his humor. And he did a very nice, touching opening, talking about his mom and his dad who were there in the audience with him. Talked about growing up in upstate New York, which is also where I grew up, upstate New York, a little further upstate than he did. And had a pretty funny segment where he said, "You know who you are, you owe me $100. And then out marched luminaries like Robert De Niro and Lady Gaga and Rudy Giuliani and Joe Namath and Tina Fey. It was entertaining, finishing off with Stephen Colbert dumping a bucket of quarters on him. I hope that the show does well, and I feel kind of conflicted talking about this because I love entertainment. I love laughing. I love a good story that lifts me up. Many of the stories that I watch make me cry. My children and I, we watched The Hobbit recently and thought it was just a tremendous movie and had great messages throughout about loyalty, about courage. So there is a place for entertainment. There is a place for storytelling. And I'm going to talk about that in our next segment as we look at Christian movies. But Jimmy Fallon said something that just struck me wrong. He said, and I quote, "The whole goal is to live a long life and to go to bed with a smile on your face." Well, I share at least part of that goal. I would like to live a long life. I would love it if God let me be around to see my children's children's children. That would be just wonderful. But the goal is not to go to bed with a smile on our face. The goal is to make it into eternity and be with God in eternal life. That's the goal. And part of the problem that we're facing in America right now, in the entertainment industry particularly, is that there is so much out there that is drawing people away from God. I mean, when I saw Lady Gaga walk out, obviously she's a superstar right now, but she had on a very risque, it would be a polite word, risque outfit. And Jimmy Fallon was talking later on about the fact that his wife and he have a 6-month-old baby daughter. And I was thinking, I mean, Jimmy, do you want your baby daughter to grow up and be like Lady Gaga or Miley Cyrus? Are you going to let your children watch these women? I mean, I know President Obama says that Beyonce is a role model for his daughters. I'm not even sure what that means. I'm not sure what he's hoping his daughters do or become when he says that. But there are a lot of moms and dads out there with broken hearts because their children who they raised to be in the faith took a sharp turn away from the faith. And in many of their lives, those young people were drawn away from the faith by people like Lady Gaga, or, and then fill in the blank. So there's the concept in entertainment of what is age appropriate. I mean, clearly Jimmy Fallon is not going to allow his children to see certain things, even things that he's involved with, until they're older. Bruce Willis made a movie years ago called The Kid. It was a wonderful movie. And he said he made The Kid because he was tired of making films that he wouldn't let his own daughters watch. So he wanted to do The Kid, and it's a great movie. Bring tears to your eyes. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. But it's not just things that are age appropriate, it's things that are appropriate, period. They're not appropriate for people of any age. And I want you to remember have it in the forefront of your brain. The goal is not to live a long life and go to bed with a smile on your face. The goal is to die in the friendship of God, to have a relationship with Jesus Christ, and to be in a state of grace, to be in a state of salvation, whatever word you want to use. Because this life will be over like that, and the next one will never end. And if people go to bed at night with a smile on their face because of debauched comedy, debauched entertainment, and it is a part of the path that takes them into the next life, into the place where there's weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth, then none of the smiles on the face were worth it. I'd rather go to bed with a smile on my face and then have an eternity in God's grace. This is the voice of resistance.